Well,
Right.
well.
Howdy. Good evening, everybody.
Caught you mid-drink there.
Yeah. Take your time.
Swallow.
Jim. Take your time.
It's fine. So I have a condition, okay? I have a medical
Yeah,
condition.
no.
You're making fun of
we
me?
know.
Yeah, because I got a medical condition.
Oh, that one
Well-
too. That's right.
Okay, whatever. Guys, welcome. Glad you made it. What's up, fellas?
It just snapped.
Son, what are you doing? Oh, my God.
Oh, you broke it.
That's all. I
man.
want to talk about it. I'm having a bad time.
I want
Just
one of you
going downhill,
guys that
man.
lives close to Nebraska to get 911 on speed dial and get ready because he's going to cut something off he needs.
Maybe you should get my little cutoff saw I just bought.
Yeah, I just put the tools down. The tools are down.
He needs a My Little Cutoff saw. Just like Dad's.
Does it come in pink?
That little helper.
Little help. That's right. Oh my God. Okay. All right. Wow. So tonight we have a guest. Our guest tonight is Ben Eady.
Hey.
And Ben has a YouTube channel, and Ape will get the link if he hasn't cut his fingers off yet.
We'll get that right now.
Ham Radio Rookie is Ben's ham radio channel. He has another channel. We'll talk about that a little later. So Ben is here tonight, and of course the 2/3 of the other crew are here. I guess T.O. is probably doing a flex stream or something, or he's getting wined and dined by Zygu. I don't know which.
More likely
which it is.
Zygu, man. You're the
I'm
flex.
Yes.
kind of jealous over that, man. I'm looking at the thing and getting kind of,
What, the Zygu?
Yeah. Well, I don't have an HF rig yet. I'm still just
What?
a VHF UHF guy.
Oh.
Right?
Wait a minute. We invited you on and no HF rig.
What? I
Not
thought,
yet.
I
Okay,
thought you
I'm sorry,
vetted
I'll
him. I
Come on
mean,
here.
Jim, you're supposed to screen better than that.
I-
I was wondering. All I've seen is HCs in his video so far.
well, his channel was new, so I
disappointed
thought he
in
was
you,
just
Doug.
enjoying HTs more and all his antennas.
Right.
So Ben has made a whole bunch of cool antennas, and we'll get to those in a second too. Ape, what's going on with you? How are you? Are you okay, buddy? You still got all your
I'm just having
digits?
I'm having some trouble today. I've been playing around with little different pieces of this phenolic board for a project that I'm working on, and it's just not going my way. So I was looking for shortcuts, and I got these out of my parts box. I got these little squares to make my life easier, and that's not going well either. So I'm a
You
little
know,
salty.
somebody who's got a cutting board for a background, you think would be able to cut? Just saying.
No, that's just a prop. That is a prop.
He found that
We-
picture on the internet,
It's too bad you don't have like a 3D printer or something.
right? If only you had a 3D printer.
What am I going to print out copper board on my 3D printer?
You
No,
can
the
actually.
spacers that you want.
Yeah, you can.
You can, and I can hook you up with that because that's the stuff I do, man.
So you can print. Is there some kind of copper filament or something like that?
It all depends on what you want to do, but like we could go right there straight into titanium if you wanted to, but yeah, you can lay down copper filament and then do a post bake afterwards. But it's a lot of the conductive filaments are they're kind of crappy. Like they're okay. They're almost like a nickel, I think, is what they've been using for the conductive material inside of it. Yeah.
Huh. I have to talk to you about that too. That's two things. So
All right.
I'll put you on the
Two
list
things.
twice. Thanks, man.
Chuck, what are you up to?
Just trying to stay dry, man. I've got a couple projects I want to do, and it's pretty much outside, and I don't feel like working in the rain. But I'm going to redo my my rotatable dipole, and I was gonna. It's kind of good. I looked at some charts to make sure before I started cutting things, and found out I shouldn't cut what I was going to cut. So that was good that I looked first. Otherwise, I would have lost a band or two.
Now you and
It's gonna be
Ape have
pretty
been
cool.
working on a secret project.
We have been.
We have this project.
secret
that's
is
coming out? Well, people know
It's
that
not
it's the
that secret.
vertical.
Tease it.
The
Tease it.
vertical. It's pretty much there now. We couldn't go forth until somebody did the old over the top of it.
Right.
Make sure
I
it
wanted to
was
do some testing on the
adequate.
board.
I take it out and use it with a radio with 10 watts and it's working good.
But you
He's
have a
gotta
ham
te-
license.
He's got to
He's-
test it though.
He still
that's
hasn't
right. He's
gotten
only
his GMRS
GMRS.
license, so
That's right.
So this is the setup that I used to test the impedance transformation capability for it, and it worked, and it did what we expected. Now the thing is that this is a 4-to-1, but the thing is that the impedance of the antenna isn't exactly 200 ohms at the feed point. So you need to use a tuner. We're trying to keep the design under a 3-to-1 across the handband. So you would be able to use it like an typical internal tuner. And then I set this test set up. Look how pretty that is.
That is.
And I ran signals through it and then measured the input and the output. And we're looking at around an 85% efficiency, which is pretty good for a transformer. Yeah. So I was happier than a pig in poo after testing it.
Except the first time he tested it, he's like, this thing's 1% efficient.
Yeah, I had a problem with it.
I'm like, there's no way.
It's probably them big wire ties you got on that thing.
Ain't them wire ties, boy.
Did you find any bigger ones?
No.
These were the ones that were on the desk.
Are those the ones you got from the police after they released you? They gave you the ones they used on you, or what?
Right.
He's compensating. That's what's happening.
Yeah, look, I would have had to get up and walk about 7 feet if I wanted to use this phone.
Oh my God.
I'm
that
efficient.
I buy because like here I am sitting right in front of these ones, right?
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, the problem is that like I'll be like, oh, I have smaller wire ties, and it'll take me 30 minutes to find them. You know what I mean? Like I'll be digging in the
amen. That's right.
I'll be digging around, and then by the time I find them, I got to go do something else.
Well,
every time I find them, I put them somewhere so I'll remember.
In this window.
Right.
Yeah.
The
I've
desk
got
is
those
huge
I've got
mess.
some tiny ones that they're perfect for doing that kind of stuff. They're barely long enough to go around that size of a 12.
Well, you're used to working with short equipment, so I would
Right.
imagine that.
That's what we heard. Yeah.
Yeah, you guys are all pretty short.
And we're down one tonight. I guess, like we said, he's probably Ron's got it. He's with the Zygu shareholders, whining and dining them.
He must be.
Yeah, I thought he said he was going to be here, but he wouldn't be here long. So I don't know.
Yeah,
coming
maybe
in
he's
later.
later or something.
Thought I was going to be late.
Okay,
He was unclear.
true. He was.
His text wasn't. It was like Chuck wrote it or something, I guess.
I wasn't going to say that out loud, but that was what I thought when I saw it. Is Chuck typing for him?
I know what I meant. Right.
Sometimes you're the only one, Charles. Chuck and a phone or just I know you can spell and type better than that. It's that phone. Is what.
Same with you. Well, sometimes I'm going down the road, dude.
I really didn't want to know that.
In the speak to the text is not always the best. It's hard to check when you're trying to keep your eyes on the road, man.
Never once in the history of me typing something did I ever mean duck.
Right.
That's right. Oh man, I said something to my wife one time, and it's like, she goes, "What are you talking about?" And I looked at him like, "Oh my God, I don't know what I sent even now. Now I can't even remember what I sent."
I was driving down the road texting with a buddy of mine one time. I don't even know what we were talking about, and I was doing the talk to text thing, and I don't even know what I was saying at the time. I don't remember. And what got transmitted was, "I am become cops."
Oh, it didn't say that you wanted to hook up. Anyhow, that stuff we were talking about was called ferric acid. I couldn't remember the name of it.
Ferric acid. Okay.
Yeah.
Ferric.
Yeah, I don't trust the speech to text thing. You end up saying a whole lot of stuff that you really didn't mean.
Yeah,
to
you
say.
have to check it before you send it, and
Right.
sometimes
Listen, the speech to text is how the Google fingerprints your voice, so I don't use it. You know what I'm saying? Like that can't be trusted.
Start looking at like
They
say
know where you
DaVinci
live.
Resolve doing video editing though, and the text to speech on that is insane. Like it actually picks up the correctly most of the time. Nothing else even works close to that.
I saw something on that the other day, using the text.
Yeah.
To do something. I forget what it was.
And you'd think it'd be better because the Dragon and all those text to speech apps have been around since the
my God.
mid 90s.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, my
you
radio's
think like
usually playing
Apple
too.
and Google could capture our thoughts better, but I just share everything I have with the Amazon device, and she feeds it straight to the NSA. So.
You keep the thoughts away with one of these things.
Right. That'll work. Ape has the deluxe model with the extra thick foil.
Does
with the chin strap.
Oh, so you got the Costco foil.
Right.
So Ben has a YouTube channel, like I mentioned, Ham Radio Rookie, and you've had your license now for just a few months.
Yeah, 8 months, I think, or something.
8 months, okay.
Yeah, it'd be about 8 months now.
So, in your background is is technical. You're an aeronautical engineer,
Yep.
and you do a lot of PCB and electronic kind of stuff too.
Kind of like I ended up getting into special effects by fluke in the movie industry, and then all of a sudden they're like, hey, could you make like a little robot for me? And I'm too dumb to say no because I want to please everybody around me, and I usually sweat it out, freak out, and then end up making something. And along the way I've developed a couple of skills here and there. So yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah.
Very cool. You worked at any movies we'd know about?
Star Trek Beyond, Maze Runner, Death Note, a few of the X-Men.
Which one
last
was
two
Beyond?
Predator
Was that the
movies.
Search for God thing?
What's that?
Which Star Trek Beyond?
Star Trek Beyond, yeah.
He's a Star Trek nerd.
I'm trying to remember which movie that was.
That was the last one
stupid-
that they made. It's where the enemy ships come flying through, and Ilderis Ilba. I don't know if I ever say
Was
his
that
name
with
right.
Picard? Yeah, that's probably why I don't remember that one.
No. This is with Chris Pine and all them.
Oh, those movies. Okay. Never mind. We're done. That's very interesting. Ben's got to go.
I liked it. I like
Ben's got to totally leave right now. Those are.
Look, I got to go bowling with Simon Pegg, first few weeks.
Okay, that'd be pretty funny.
Yeah,
because he seems hilarious.
He
did a good
he's every
Scotty.
ounce the nerd you think he is. So yeah.
The movies are apocryphal, but that's another story. So they're wrong. Wrong timeline. They had to retrocon it. I'm getting
Okay,
fired up. I'm sorry.
it's okay. It's okay. Your nerd is showing.
Yeah, it
Exactly.
is. Shut up, Mr. Flat Earth Head.
But you're gonna start in with the Millennium Falcon could never do the run in 5 parsecs.
So
Okay,
we took our kids to Disney a year and a bit ago, and my wife walks up to the Millennium Falcon and goes, "Is that Enterprise?" My kids just about died in embarrassment. Like one just about collapsed right there.
Oh man,
Yeah, when we were there, I love to ask the most ridiculous questions to the people who work at Disney.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Hi, I'm looking for the woke Millennial Falcon. Is that?" They just answer the question. They can't say anything.
Yeah.
Or the other one is we're getting on the Rise of the Resistance ride, and I stop the guy and I say, "Hey, do I need a poncho for this ride?" And they're just not used to people asking questions like that. That they just
My
stand there
oldest
and
is
stare.
16. One of the stormtroopers came up to her and was like, mouthing her off, like saying, "Oh, you got to get in here and do all this kind of stuff." And she ended up dropping, I forget what it was, but it was a "Yo Mama" joke. And literally shut him up and he walked away. I was like,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
what can you say after that? So we have a question for you already. And we were talking about this before the show. What PCB design software do you use?
It's called fritzing. I think that's how you pronounce it. Fritzing. I should
Yeah.
probably just bring it up so I'm saying it right.
Fritzing. Ape can probably find it for us. We can.
It's an old software. I honestly don't even know if it's still supported. Man, I bought it in 2007 and it still says it's beta. So I don't know.
So it's like Gmail.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
So yeah, it's fritzing.
It's really nice though because you can do I got it because I was drawing circuits for an Arduino, and you can actually get the actual pictures of the physical components to put on there.
Yeah, exactly. And you just sort of you can eyeball it and put it down instead of having to deal with a schematic and then trying to figure out how to lay out all the holes because it's going to drop them in
Right.
God knows what place. Yeah.
So where was I going? And we got sidetracked. Dang it. Well, this is
God's sake,
awkward.
Jim.
I know.
That's why I tell you to
saying
write your
there's a-
questions down.
Well, I could be having a stroke. I have questions written down, but I can't remember which one I was going to ask them.
Huh?
So you've had your license for about 8 months now.
Yep.
What got you into ham? Because where I was going was you have a very technical background.
Right. So,
And you're like in your late 30s, early 40s, somewhere in there.
oh my God, thank you very much. No, dude, I'm like 52.
Oh, okay. Well, you're still a youngin.
Yeah, well, but still, in the ham radio, I do realize that I am generally the youngin. But
Yeah, true. I'm 61
Right.
and I feel like the youngin all the time too.
oh my God, yeah. Yeah,
So-
sometimes you wonder, can it get any grumpier? But hey.
You haven't met Chuck when he doesn't have his video right or something. He gets really cranky. So
Me?
What made you decide to get into ham radio?
So
Chuck is
it
never
was
cranky.
strange. Okay, I had a medical emergency actually, and I thought I had a stroke. And my wife took me to the hospital. I was there for a few days, and it turned out to not be a stroke, but they haven't figured out what it is. But I had really bad vision. I couldn't walk and all that other weird stuff. And when I left, I was okay. But I have, like, right now, because the medications I'm taking, I can hold my hand fairly steady. But if I don't have medication, I'm like this. So I basically was sitting on the couch and thinking, well, I got to do something, because as you can see from my videos, I love building stuff. I can't imagine not building something. I'd rather have my eyes gouged out and be deaf than lose my hands. So I realized that, like, when I was a kid, I wanted to get a ham radio. I got one that I used storage, just a receiver, and I listened to it. And it was back in the days when you had to learn Morse, and I didn't have the brain to learn Morse, so I never really got it back then. But there was this one guy in town, Wally Gardner. He's VE6 BGL, super awesome guy, and he would have me over to his place and nerd out once in a while. Anyways, back to the story. Decided that, okay, well, then maybe I should just do this ham radio thing, because it involves reading a book and maybe taking a test and then playing with some radios. And that's how I got into it. And I luckily, from some of my background, I knew a lot about the basic qualification in Canada. So it took me about a week and a half to go through the book, and took the test and got my license.
Very good. So you have the equivalent of probably close to a general license, I guess, in Canada licensing. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, is there a level beyond where you are, or?
Yeah, there's an advanced license, and I'm actually going to be taking a course. I'm generally not the course kind of person, but everybody I've met recently are taking this advanced course, and I figured, it'd be a good way to just go and hang out with some fellow nerds once a week, kind of thing. So that's where I'm going.
I thought it was because you said the ham radio operators tend to be so friendly and welcoming. So
you know what? I've never met an unfriendly, mean ham radio operator. In my comments section, however.
I was going to say, you haven't met them, but they're there.
Yeah, and there's one guy that's constantly being a jackhole on one of our repeaters and jamming it and key clicking constantly. So, yeah.
It's just so dumb. Like, I don't understand why they have to act that way. And the other one is that if you do something wrong, boy, they'll be quick to tell you, and it's like, how about you just try to help me instead of criticize me on something?
Well, how about that's why I chose Ricky. When in doubt, it's like, did you look at the name?
I just don't, I don't
get it. Yeah. And, QRZ.com has a lot of great features, but the forums, to quote the man, never will you find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy than the forums on QRZ.
I don't even go over there. It's so toxic.
Honestly, I didn't even know there was a forum in there. I'm going to have to go check it out now.
Don't post any questions.
Don't. You seem very well adjusted so far. So I would don't go over there. It could ruin you. I don't know. I mean, there's good people in there too, I'm sure. But it's just every time I look over there, somebody is just toxic as hell over.
It's the grumps are so much louder than the positive stuff that it really gives the whole thing a bad.
Well, and they own the airwaves, and you're not allowed to, touch this frequency because he's been on there. Oh, for God's sake, shut up.
Well, it's one of our I don't know if it's an inside joke, but one of the recurring things, and you'll probably see it in the chat if you watch enough of our streams, is something is killing ham radio. And, I'm sure back in the day, CW was killing ham radio because it was better than Spark Gap, and I'm sure tubes were killing ham radio because they were better than CW. And
while they sit there and complain,
ridiculous
sometimes.
Just
go piss around and make ham tins into antennas and have some fun and giggles. Because I'll tell you, for like the medical stuff I've been going through, it's like the ultimate medicinal thing. I get to build something. It's small, it's easy to obtain, and then have a giggle over it, or I actually found a couple of cool things. So it's just fun. So enjoy it, and screw them. Let them be all bitchy off this side. Oh, sorry.
Right.
It's okay, man.
No, dude, it's fine. We try to keep it to PG-13 ish because there's some bitches in the chat. So
Yeah, like the gray bearded Poda, that guy.
Yeah,
That gray beard guy.
he is very sensitive.
Graybeard Poda. Wow.
Gray man Poda.
Gray
Right.
man.
We have Overlanding for Fun has been a member for 6 months. I am not an old fart. Get off my internets.
Sometimes you get a little cranky though, Jim.
You
I
do.
mean, just
There's
when
no
am I
denying it.
cranky?
You
I
can't
have to
deny
put
all
up
the
with
time.
you knuckleheads, which is just I didn't have these.
Look, I'm the
before I
new guy, and
started
I'm
YouTube.
probably just gonna paint a target on my back. But Chuck, I think you're the because you're the quiet and don't smile guy. You strike me as the grumpy one.
He
if you want to
is
see him grump up
I'm
fast,
not.
criticize his solar panel installation.
right.
And,
Hey, that bitch. I mean,
You know,
But she
do you
was-
know why it's not working? It's
No,
because
sorry,
you made it for a round Earth.
sorry.
Right. I tried to
I was
explain
trying
that
to.
him.
Frank was telling me there's a VK on 28.
So you're not even
485.
really
So,
with us on the show, is what you're saying?
well, I was gonna make. He said you couldn't make a contact at 100 watts, and I was like, I was gonna prove him wrong. But the guy left, so
Okay, so you're back now.
I'm 100 times 6. So,
YouTube
so
is killing
600
ham
watts.
radio. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, it is.
Well, I'd
Thank-
like to ask our guest some questions about the stuff that he's doing. So I checked out your channel pretty good,
Okay.
and despite all the shorts, I'm just kidding. But
Dude,
you know,
it's feeding the algorithm. I'll be honest. I freaking hate them. But okay.
no, I
Do
mean
you
your
like
channel
6 today?
4
or 5
you're
today?
killing it. Really, really good content
Yeah.
on there. Then you built these
I thought it did.
cloth antennas
Yeah.
out of Faraday cloth, right? So I want to hear. I want to hear about that.
So you go back. There's one of my beginning videos was like I was watching one of John Portune's videos, and he's talking about using foil tape.
Mhm.
And if you're like me, you got shit all over your desk. And he was talking about that, and I saw duct tape in front of me, and then I started thinking, I wonder how thin they make that foil tape. And they made it thin enough. I'm like, I could tape a J pole onto a piece of duct tape, and I wonder how well it would work. And be damned if it didn't work like incredibly well. So that video kind of went a little bit on the viral side. Now that I love the antenna, and I've been carrying around one for like 3 or 4 months, but I find they have about a 1 month lifespan in a pocket being folded and unfolded because it'll work hard and crack. And so since then I've been thinking like there's got to be something flexible that I could use. And then what is it? KBR antennas.
KB9 VBR.
Yeah, KB9
Yeah.
VBR was talking about the magic carpet of the Faraday cloth. And I'm like, hey, wait a minute. Back a long time ago, when I was like in the infantry and stuff, I also did search and rescue, and I made my own packs and stuff, so I know how to sew. And I'm like, maybe I can get this and sew it together. And while I was searching for that, turns out that there's Faraday tape. And I was like, oh my God, this solves almost all the problems. So I just need to get a fabric ribbon, tape on that tape, and do some post sewing afterwards because adhesives never hold forever. And boom, it I was surprised at how well it works. And what's really kind of weird is that it's a really narrow band, but it's got a huge flat bandwidth on it. But the drawback but the one give that you have to give on this is that on the J-pole calculator, it needs to be like just about a meter long. Now this is 1.7 meters long, so you have to give it extra length. And I think it's probably because of like the way it's a capacitive coupling and the velocity factor or something in between the two.
Yeah.
Yeah, your
And,
tuning was way taller, way higher up also, right? I saw
Say again?
that. The tuning, where you tune it, was way farther up than normal. Because your copper tape one, everything looked normal. I mean, size-wise and everything, right?
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know what I don't know. Like, this is the one thing that I'm somewhat afraid of being on this whole chat, is because like seriously, I know enough to let the magic smoke out of my HT. So
That's awesome. That's good. That's a good start.
but I'm also not afraid to let the magic smoke out of my HT. And I think that's what puts me apart from most people, is everybody's trying to protect everything. And I don't know. I lost the GFF, the give a flip factor in the infantry. And so it's just like, yeah, let's see what happens.
So
Curious.
you have some really interesting antennas you've made, and if you guys have not watched these videos, you need to go watch them.
Yeah.
And I think and I don't want you to give away unless you want to, but you got one dropping tonight, after the
Oh
show.
God, no, I totally want to drop that one tonight. Do you want? Here's your hint.
Well, let's get you full screen here.
Right
There
there.
you go.
There we go. So I managed to get. I decided that my ham radio or my hand tim antenna was not good enough, and I wanted to find out if a tinfoil hat will work, because I think the conspiracy theorists are not aware that the Illuminati and big pharma and the chemtrails have been convincing them to throw these things on, and that's what they've been beaming the thoughts into their heads with, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Well,
so right
what
after
I'm
the
curious
show,
about-
I'm going to make that video go live. So I'm hoping that I can, push some of the people over there, because
I'm sure they will. Y'all go subscribe to Ben right now. We'll wait.
Well, you got that Faraday cloth. I'm looking to make a do-rag out of that, so that way I don't have to wear my Faraday hat. I can wear
So you
that.
can push your
public.
baseball cap over that,
Hey,
right?
Yeah.
So I've got a couple guys in town that want to throw this hat on and say that they want to transmit in 2.5 watts, and I'm pretty sure it's safe, but I don't want to know for sure. So we've got one guy with some testing equipment, and we can throw it. Let me pull this up. This is a hollow head just like mine. So we're going to throw some testing equipment up inside of that. Now, granted, this is like a plastic, but at least we can figure out how much of that radiation's going in versus going out.
Shove a ham up in there with your test gear inside the ham.
That's okay. That might be cheating. So one of the episodes I'm working on is that we've got a guy that's rated. I think he's allowed to put out 2,500 watts, and we're gonna make a ham tin. We're gonna throw the ham in the bottom half of the ham, and we're gonna talk it to cooked.
Okay.
Well, what you could do is you could put a tiny SA inside that plastic head, one of these things,
Yeah, I got
And,
one over here somewhere. Okay.
and use the antenna and just put it down all the way, and then you can remote control the tiny SA with your PC, and then you could actually see the signal strength coming off the tiny SA.
What, you can remote control those damn it?
USB, yeah.
Oh,
But
through
you-
USB, not like a Bluetooth or something like that. That would make more sense. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
the
you need to use a USB cable, but you could put it in there and then put it on this frequency. You know how to use it. Put it on the frequency that you want to
Ish.
listen to.
Man,
And,
I was watching your nano VNA video. If the people are watching this, go watch that video. Oh my God, dude. I was sitting there and every time I put on a new cable, I'd recalibrate to the end. I had no idea that you could do the scale division thing. And I'm like, how much of my life is wasted?
Well,
you
see,
know,
the thing
when-
is I always say that how great the nano VNA is, and people are like, you got to calibrate it in the field, and I'll drop the standard in the grass, and I'm like, no, you don't. You can save that. And then the electrical delay, it's technically called port forwarding, is what it's called, in the laboratory world, but on these things, for whatever they call electrical delay, is huge.
Obviously, all the other YouTubers are watching you for that.
Well, I think a few are.
Yeah.
I saw Steve pop up. Did he disappear or
Steve is in Texas, and he apparently knows everywhere in Texas where there's inadequate internet available.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
Oh.
goes out, he finds those spots.
Well, it's a good way to isolate yourself and force yourself to use the radio, right?
Live in Texas. Yeah.
He's saying that the string, he's like, are you starting again? He goes, I think I just ended that. Started again. I'm like, he's texting me. I'm like, dude, we're live, bro.
We're live. Are we live? People in the chat, are we live? I mean, y'all keep
Think so.
chatting, so I'm assuming we're still.
Yeah, I mean, the ticker's going.
It's
So
still
Ben
going.
has done some really interesting antennas. I like the can antenna.
Yeah.
That was fun. That was basically a
drunken
slot
bet on
antenna.
Halloween.
Yeah. So that was like a slot antenna, basically, right?
Yeah. So again, I absolutely adore John Portune. He's W6NBC. We've ended up chatting because of my videos, and
He's a bright guy.
dude, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, I don't. What maddens me about him and makes me love him even more though is that I'll go, I can't figure out what's going on. Here's the problem. And he won't give me the solution, but he will give me the pieces I need to dig it out. And I'm like, can't you just tell me? But he's right. You learn so much more by that self-discovery method. And I think he understands that it's not going to stick in my brain if he just gives it to me. Right. So,
well, there's one thing about him that he advocates for the dirty Balin, and that drives me mad. I'm like, oh, come on, man. Don't say that. Don't say that. But
That thing works
he's a bright
fine,
guy.
man.
here, I'm gonna wrap one up while we're doing this just to make you feel good.
Right.
You
Well,
have to
he's
do
like,
it. You have to do it per the band, though, man. You can't just wrap
You do that. It's hard to get. You can't do them as a broadband balun, and
No.
so
Isn't
I've got one.
something
I've got
better
one on
than
my 6
nothing
meter.
though?
it is. And so the thing is that he may be getting better CMC impedance on that than you do with a broadband balun. I've never even tested it because I always think it's such a pain in the butt, because you have to be scientific about how you build it, right? So there's a number of coil, the size of the coil, the number of winds, and all that kind of stuff. And it's so much
Needs to be
easier to
flat.
just take some wire and wrap it around a toroid and be off to the
You can
races.
get so like the one thing that he does though is that like, you know, get an antenna, and if it's not letting the smoke out of your radio, then use it, because like I got a bunch of like chokes, and then as soon as I got the chokes, I started reading up on it, and then you have to get this type of choke with this kind of metal in it and not this kind and that kind. And then maybe you should do a dirty balun. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, can I just get like something?
Well, like with everything that I learned originally through imitation, which is what most people do. So I would find an antenna design and I would build it, have no idea how it worked. And then I would use it like you're saying, and then figure out, oh, if I do this, this will happen. If I do this, this will happen. And then you start to really learn about how they actually work. But out of the gate, I don't think anybody, unless they have a strong electrical engineering background, would be able to say, oh, well, apparently I need X, Y, and Z, and I'm going to go build that real quick in the basement.
There is one thing I noticed though, is the guy that is like, you know, he's telling you that there is no way that any way you should ever use that one thing. He's so wrong. The guy that's so sure that he's right, he's wrong guy is always the one that you shouldn't listen to. But like, it's really easy to find them because they're just loud and in your face and going, don't do it.
Right.
No, actually, Ape does know a few things. Ape actually knows some stuff.
We have a super sticker from Richie. Richie's Radio Room.
Thank you,
Richie.
Nice.
Appreciate it, buddy.
Richie.
Awesome. Appreciate it.
You know, one
Richie.
thing, I should have brought my trumpet down. Maybe next time.
Well,
you would not be the first ham to play trumpet.
No,
Chuck was
but I
talking to a
play
guy.
trumpet, sax. Ooh, bagpipes. Yeah, that's it. Let's bring some
Oh,
Scottish.
okay, you
I'll
totally
some
bring the
pipes.
bagpipes, man. That's all. We'll do a whole show of bagpipe music.
Excellent.
Chuck was talking to a guy about a certain type of antenna, and the guy's like, "That'll never work. That'll never work." And Chuck's like, "I'm talking to you on it right now."
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
And
Oh yeah, no, I've gotten that a few times.
It was a dipole, but I was using it as a doublet with coax and tuning it, and it was fine. And the guy's he's up in Canada someplace, and he goes, "Well, that doesn't work." I'm like, "Well, dude, I'm talking to you on it right now. You just gave me an S9 Plus." I don't know.
so you're breaking up. You're breaking up.
Now you're breaking up. Yeah.
10-9. 10-9.
That's right.
Say again. Hey, Chris Radio and Life has been a member for 4 months. Chris, thank you for your support,
All right,
buddy.
Chris,
We
thank you,
appreciate
man.
it.
You know,
And I want to say that if you're wondering how to be a member, there's a join button right below this stream in the dingles below. And next week is our private chat with all the members and supporters of CAR and the Smoking Ape and Temporarily Offline and KK6USY and me. And we sit around in Zoom and lie
Just about
mostly
do.
about all the cool women we have never met. So if you would like to hang out with us, please feel free to join. Go ahead, Ape. You were going to say something, I think.
No, I think I'm good.
You're good. So you've made several antennas besides the canned ham one.
Yeah,
And you made the Yagi one. I thought was interesting.
Yeah, so
that was the one you had the 88 click contact on, right? Was that bad boy right there?
Yeah. So yeah, I had 88 like to and from, and they were giving me full quieting at that one repeater. But what was really funny is there's at the end of the video, I have one that I think it's like 174 kilometers. They heard me and they were responding, but I couldn't hear them.
Snap.
So it was one of those where, yeah, I don't know if you count it if it's a one-way shot, but I'm still damn proud of it because I'm like, holy crap.
That's great. And that was on an HT. What HT was that?
Oh my God. It was Oh, it was this guy. It's one sec. It's a
Tid,
Woshan, I
the
think.
tin water.
See, he keeps his shack just like we do. AP has to reach around and find stuff
Right, I
on
got
the
piles of
floor.
stuff on the floor.
Yeah,
Right.
so it's like a Woshan
KG9 UVD
but I had it.
mate. Yeah, I recognize that radio.
Yeah, it's really good. But the my first freebie that I got because of my channel is this TID radio one.
Oh boy.
Well, nothing. I choked. That's all.
It's okay.
Mine's
No,
clean as can be, man. So is Abe's.
I don't know because because I've been out of work for quite a while between strikes and that health issue is that I don't have a whole lot of money, so like freebies is good. And I have
I'm not. Freebies are great. Just
He was just talking about the radio.
that radio is kind of a. It's kind of a crap.
Did yours come from Amazon?
No,
Or did it come from China?
Yeah, I got it straight from them.
Oh.
It's the version 2 with the updated, and I did the check for spurious emissions, and it's actually pretty clean.
Oh, he's one of us already. Look
That's
at
a
that.
different
Yeah.
one. Then.
All right,
That's
hang
not
on.
the
We
one
got
you
some
get from
business.
Amazon.
Amrad Podcast has become a YouTube member. Thank you, Derek.
All right,
Appreciate
Amrad.
that.
Thanks.
And Derek has a YouTube channel as well. Check that out, Amrad Podcast on the YouTubes.
No, we're totally cool with folks sending free stuff. And so as you make videos and people watch them, folks will contact you and say, "Hey, would you check this out? Would you check this out?" And one thing is that a lot of the amateur radio companies don't really like to send stuff out. But you'll get a lot of stuff offered from the
real
Chinese
companies.
HT stuff.
Yeah.
Well, and that's
I got a
the same
pretty
for my
sweet
other channel,
offer.
too.
Yeah, right. I got a
Yeah.
pretty sweet offer from a company, but I turned them down, and I probably shouldn't. It was probably a bad decision on my part, but I just don't like the guy. So I was like, nah, no thanks.
Well, we haven't gotten to Steve's level of Zygu, the talks and everything. So that's just, I'm totally butthurt over that. I want one.
And but it was crazy is like some of the other companies though, like I got contacted by a oscilloscope company, and they're sending me a sweet
Nice
scope. It
I
was
mean, it's
supposed to be here
okay.
today.
It's all
Yeah,
right.
it's supposed to be here today, and it's
all
not,
right.
so I'm a little upset
for,
about it.
for a free one, I mean, it's all right.
Son,
What if
come
my
on.
stuff got here today.
Son, the one we
Scottish.
bought
Anything
is
free is-
better. The ones that you and me bought is like
Yeah,
two
but
times as good as that one.
this was pretty dang on sweet.
But that one looks pretty cool. I'm going to give it's freaking cool.
So if you
Shut
don't
up.
need your old one, you can send it to me. I'm just saying.
Well,
the
I have an
the
old
Canadian mounting-
spectrum analyzer I'm trying to get rid of. I have a new one and I need to sell this one. The market for spectrum analyzers is fairly small.
But the Mounties probably won't let it come across the border.
Well,
You'd
who
be
knows?
surprised that it's the ham radio. It's kind of so it's interesting because getting aluminum across the border back and forth between the U.S. and Canada is a pain in the butt, and it's this whole legal stupid thing. But working in the movie industry, you're always building structures using aluminum. So if you need something special and it's only in the States, it becomes super, super expensive. But I found out that I needed a mast thing for our club. They're putting up another antenna, or trying to repair an antenna. So I'm helping them out. And I couldn't find this metal. And then the guy says, well, all you have to do is on the invoice, say that it is for ham radio, put your call sign, and it'll come across the border duty free. So there's a few little tricks that you can play now with ham radio that make me all excited. Because I'm like, ooh, I wonder what other
You
toys
mean
I
you're
can play with.
special? You're
See, I didn't-
I got to
Wonderful.
remember
Canada?
that. Well, I mean, every time we ship anything to Canada, it's always like twice the price of what it costs us. I can ship it from Alabama to Washington State for half the price to ship it straight up to Ontario or something.
The number
or
one
BC,
business
wherever.
killer in Canada is Canada Post.
Hey, we
Yeah,
got
to
hold that thought. We got Lee has been a member for 10 months. Lee, thank you very much
Right,
for
Lee.
your support.
Yeah,
We
thanks, Lee.
appreciate it. And that lady was very happy that you remember, Lee.
Yes, she was.
And pretend that was me being that happy. I am right now. You can tell.
You're that pretty.
Not even if you
Yeah.
tell.
No,
don't
not
know
even
that.
close.
I don't think you can get that schnocker.
Not
to
on a good
believe
day.
that. That's why I have the beard. It hides half
Yeah.
of this at least.
There's old Bob, HOA ham. He's been busy
HOA
cranking out
Bob.
videos.
He has been busy.
And HOA Bob has him a YouTube channel too, and he's Bob's doing really well on his.
You know
He's
what
always
works
got
great
something
for
new coming
HOA
out.
antennas? Fabric ones. Just saying. You sew it into a flag.
Well, you know what I was going to say about those fabric antennas? That would be like the
Ultimate
hiking
finger
and,
to the
and
HOA.
with the prepping community would go crazy over that kind of thing.
Well,
because it's easy to pack down, and it looks to me that it doesn't. You don't have to worry about it getting bent or damaged or anything like that while you're carrying it around.
So
I was just thinking, if you could do that, if you could do a flag, out of that material, paint it so it looks like a reasonable facsimile of either the Canadian flag.
Well, you don't like the Union Jack?
One of y'all's flags. You have many, I think, right?
Yeah.
We all think it was just the maple leaf, but I recently learned there's more than one. I was like, okay.
No, the maple leaf's that's the one.
That's the one. Okay.
It's the syrup flag, right? Like a maple syrup flag.
Sure. Yeah. If you want to call it that.
The syrup flag. It's the Celine Dion flag. And that would be a great way to stick a finger in the HOA's eyes to put up a mast with a
giant flag on it.
That's
See,
right.
this is one thing that I kind of like and don't like about my channel is I have all these plans. I'm thinking nobody's going to guess this. This is going to be great. Everybody pretty much leaves in the comments where I'm going, right? So if you want to figure out where I'm heading, like your last comment with the flag and everything, yeah, I'm totally working on that one. So
I've ruined it. I'm sorry.
No. This is good. I'm hoping that people are like intrigued enough to come and check it out. But like at the same time, you gotta leave enough suspense to make sure that they come back, or at least that's the game I'm trying to play.
All right. Very good. Now you said you had worked in the movie industry, done effects for movies and stuff. Is that based on your engineering background kind of stuff? Or did you wake up one day and go to special effects for dummies class, or how does that work? How did you end up doing that?
It was a complete and utter fluke. So there's a makerspace here in town, and I usually just hung out at it because they had like laser cutters and CNC mills before I could get my own kind of thing. And there was somebody that was working there, this Janet, and she goes, you're kind of like a crazy engineer type, and my supervisor, this is special effects supervisor, needs some help with a movie. Do you mind if I, give him your resume? And I kind of laughed because I've been working as a freelance engineer for 15 years by this point in time. And I'm like, I don't even have a resume, just look up my name. But the guy gave me a call, and he ended up buying out two of my clients to get me out to Vancouver. And when I landed, they told me I was working on Star Trek Beyond. And I ended up building a couple of the largest rotating sets ever made in movie history, which was pretty cool. And apparently I did a good enough job that I keep getting asked back by different people here and there. And they'll put up with the crazy eccentric guy that, watch my videos. You'll totally pick up what I'm talking about.
Well, they probably go, he's Canadian. He's a little weird, but he's nice. So it's okay.
The thing is, I end up working in Vancouver, Calgary a couple of times, but yeah, I've done a few things in LA, in New York. They even took me to Bogota once, which was pretty cool. So,
well, I saw a thing where they say Vancouver, it's a lot cheaper to shoot movies there for whatever reason.
And the same here.
A lot of movie production houses are going there to do that.
Yeah, it's
where
known
are
as
you at in Canada? Ben, where are you at in Canada?
I'm in Calgary, Alberta. So pseudo central, I think Calgary Stampede, if you know where, oil and gas country. We're the Texas of the North.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right.
We got Ham Radio Hobby. Thank you, PBE.
Yes.
For becoming a member.
Hit it. Got it, Ape.
I have it. Let me see if I can find one here.
Thanks, Patrick. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
So, what else is on your radar for the YouTube channel? Where do you think you're going to go once you run out of eccentric 2-meter antennas to make?
Well, I'm saving up to get an HF rig. I know that right now there's two guys that have taken a look at my slot box antenna, and they've asked me to, they've commissioned me to make some for them. So I'm going to do 6 meters with that, and we're going to use their rigs for it. I'm hoping at some point in time in between that there's some I got a birthday coming up and like Christmas funds, there might be enough to buy like a inexpensive HF rig for myself and start playing around. But past that, I've got things like, if you look at squid poles, the carbon fiber squid poles. If you take a look at, and I'm really hoping I'm not boning myself here, because I'm actually writing out 2 provisional filings for some of the antennas that I'm making to at least maybe make some money from them. But if you take the Faraday cloth, I took it out into my shop and I did some composite layup using that instead of glass fiber or carbon fiber. And it looked like I could make a conductive extendable pole, but like, we're talking about something that you can put up 12 meters straight up. And it's just conductive all the way through, and start playing with that.
That's interesting.
Yeah, but then throw a few sticks like that. So you were talking about like, going in mountaineering and stuff. With my background, I ended up being in search and rescue at one point in time, and having comms that you can like have in your pocket like this that you could toss up into a tree would be huge.
Right.
So a couple of search and rescue outfits have actually reached out to me and made an order for a bunch of these antennas, just so they can throw them into packs. And then the Yagi, so you're talking about the Yagi version, the lengths and everything. This is where it gets kind of weird. You know how I said that this needed to be longer to resonate properly? But if you do a Yagi version of it with like the dipole, it doesn't need to be longer. It needs to be exactly the same length, and it resonates properly. So I don't know what's going on there, but all I know is that it is working. So they've asked me if I can expedite and stop making a video and send them a few Yagis so they can have some point shoot antennas as well.
You tell them to send a
Let's
check?
see. Let's hold that up again. Let me get you on the full screen, and so we can get a good look at it.
I'll back up.
Big
It'll be
him.
blurry, but there we go. So yeah, the Union Jack. This when I was born, the Union Jack was still the Canadian flag. So
That's awesome, man.
Yeah. But and people ask me why, and the reason why I did that is that I just wanted lightweight fiberglass in the back, and you just want it to be able to be pulled tight, and you just use the arms. But
so now, hold your antenna back up, Ben. So what did you use? What did you use for all the materials in different places?
So this is a squeegee handle from our version of Harbor Freight. Hey, how's that? This is a squeegee handle from Harbor Freight, or it's called Princess Auto in Canada, and then a 3D print that I've got here, but I'm not doing your typical 3D prints. I got a higher end 3D printer. So this is like an ABS, but I've got some nylons and fiber reinforced nylons, just cheap tarp material. We've got some duct tape and some fiberglass pulls, and even down in the corners. Sorry, my light is not really good for a white thing. I just have it taped over. So these are sort of like sprung fit. So you can kind of, if you flex it, you can pop it out. Yeah, and that's it. There's and then we have the Faraday cloth fabric tape in here. And
so with that material, are you cutting that with like your laser cutter or something? Because that looks really good.
I've seen your cuts. It's better than anything you cut.
Busted. Yeah,
sure.
So, I don't have a laser cutter that big, but remember I was saying I have maker spaces. So there's a maker space that I'm really good. A friend of mine runs in town. So he's got an 8 foot by. He's got a 10 foot by 5 foot and anything smaller. So whatever I need to get cut, I just go in and have that done. So yeah, it has been cut. But
was that Tyvek?
Entirely, because even that catches the wind a little bit. Somebody said, why don't you just use like the plastic screen material, like for window screens?
Yeah, fiberglass.
I'm just like, oh my God, I hate it when somebody points out the obvious to you and you're just like, oh, yes, okay. So at that point,
you say that was like what, canvas tarp material or something, or plastic tarp?
Just plastic tarp. It's just again, that's not dollar store. Well, you could get a dollar store, but Harbor Freight, right?
Ed,
Harbor Freight tarp.
Ed, you're very funny.
Yeah,
with the TV wall mount. Not anymore, Ed. I got rid of them all. Well, no, wait, I have one. I have one available, Ed. I'm going to send it to you.
But then you have to put it
on
this
purpose.
way, not this way, right? Is that
right?
Yeah.
They may not be polarized correctly.
Yeah. So the squeegee handle's got to go for the lightweight ones, though. A lot of the guys have been telling me that the hiking poles that they have all have 1/4 screws on the top. So they just want an attachment into it, and that means that I can turn that down to nothing. Like this antenna is 1.4 ounces. It's freaking crazy how light it is. So then, yeah, the tarp one, I'm thinking I could probably, minus the poles and everything, I'm thinking 5 or 6 ounces total. And
Wow.
like for somebody doing search and rescue, that's everything, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So you could do HF with that same kind of way, right?
Yeah. Dude,
Abe, what do you think?
I don't see why you couldn't. I'm thinking the 10 meter would still
Yeah.
be manageable in terms of size, right?
if you did 10 meter, wouldn't it make more sense to do like a slot antenna? That way you sort of bring it down and then you could put directors. Like this is one thing I want to do is I want to take a slot antenna and put directors on either side of it. So it's almost like the Yeagis with the loop, but the loop is closed and the feed point will be off to the side. And if the feed point's off to the side, then it might be a little easier to manage in some circumstances.
Well, the director is normally like 5% smaller than your dipole center, and then
Mhm.
you have a reflector which is 5% larger.
Right.
So I don't know how well the directivity would work if you had 2 directors. I've never.
Or sorry,
seen that.
I was using the bad wording. You're correct. I meant a reflector and director. My bad.
Okay.
Well, you can do just a driven and a director also.
Yeah,
that works.
So,
I done a 20 meter that
slot
way.
antennas are very directional. Like in one of my videos, I did the sunroof slot. I have to point my car at the repeater, otherwise I'm not hearing it. If I'm broadside to it,
Right.
So it's a great antenna, but like I guess it's you guys were talking about advertising about antennas on one of your casts. Well, this is broadside slots are not so great.
I always could say how the antenna manufacturers over exaggerate their claims about everything, and
Yeah.
they'll actually take something that's not good about an antenna and then turn it into a benefit for it, or they'll take a design consideration or something like that, and just because it's built a certain way, they'll make it sound like it's some kind of innovative thing or something like that. I'm so against the antenna manufacturers; it's ridiculous.
Well, I'm about to be one with these things, and that's so. Hopefully, you don't hate me, but like
No, but that's different, right? So it's different when it's like an organic, homegrown thing, right?
Yeah.
Versus something that I don't know. I just don't like most of the antenna manufacturers. Like I do really like MFJ because I feel like they put out like reasonably priced antennas that folks can buy and get into the hobby and learn how to use it. But some of these guys, man, they really nail people to the wall, and the claims that they make around their antennas are just ridiculous.
Well, they're not special. They're not the price special difference between, and not trying to advertise for us, but they're not honestly that much more awesome than the stuff we sell.
Well, and there's things like,
and ours are handcrafted by Charles. I mean,
that's right. Ours are made to last.
Yeah, that's right. So I saw
you don't have to give an arm for it.
Some questions have rolled by, and we're getting low on time. But so your roll-up one, you did that. That's a J-pole design, right?
Yeah.
So Liberty Cave was talking about moving the feed point for the J-pole, and that might make the difference because that would change the impedance on the J-pole.
Yeah, so with that, I ended up moving. So the feed point generally on the calculators is about 3 or 4 inches from the bottom. This ends up being 6 or 8. So yeah, you're right. And there's going to be multiple points along there, I'm sure, to find a good feed point. To be completely honest, my ADHD won't allow me. Like once I found one, I'm not going to spend any more time finding the other one.
What you can do is just be called feed point optimization, right? And be like, if you want a J-pole, which happens to be the most famous letter in the alphabet, use our feed point optimized antenna.
Yeah.
Is Alberta trying to secede from Canada and join the U.S.?
Oh God, no. It's.
Is that a thing? I don't know if he's been drinking or not.
It is and it isn't. I don't know. I don't want to get into politics, but I don't like our current government. Like
we don't like ours.
They're a bunch of conservative twits, and they suddenly no.
We're going to move on. We're going to move on. I didn't know that was the thing. We're just not even going to talk about that. Never mind.
There's 13 states in the United States that want to secede right now that they're talking about. But Here's the thing, like you get these states, they're like, we're seceding from the union. We don't want a goddamn thing to do with them.
Yeah.
And if they actually got that, there would be like a hurricane or the snowstorm or something that would come in, and then
Or
immediately
they find out they can't survive also.
right, like we need the federal aid.
There's like a couple of states that support the United States.
When I was in the
people hate
military,
'em.
we did a lot of training down there. And like some of the states, if it weren't for the military bases, they'd shut down. So if they want to secede and then the base moves out, they got nothing. They're just like,
right. So I don't understand it.
Ryan said you could possibly do a 10-meter ironing board antenna.
Well, you could iron your clothes and make contacts at the same time.
Yeah, that's right. And I mean, if you just dampen it and transmit on it, that ought to bring the steam. So then all you have to do
I was about to go. Can you? Yeah, you just heat it up a little bit and then.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. All right. Well, Ape, what else have you got that you want to chat
I don't
about?
have anything.
Or Chuck. I mean, we've been talking about antennas. I figured Chuck would not have shut up yet, but he's
No, I
pretty
was
quiet
just
tonight.
I was just happy to see you were actually excited about an antenna for a change. We copped on you the other night, and somebody took it. I mean, kind of weird. Not you, somebody else. We were talking about how important your antenna was. And he got
Oh yeah, I
lost,
saw
too.
that. He'll be all right. He'll get over
Did
it.
you-
He's probably on QRZ blogging about it right now.
You just
Probably.
gotta spray it down with the SWR spray and give her a good wipe, right?
That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
Then you're
That's
good to
right.
go. You're good to go.
Yeah.
We have a
That's
similar antenna to yours coming out, but we're waiting on finances.
Yeah, you know. Well, it's
I'll
a
show 'em.
Moxin. It's a Moxin
Yeah.
design.
There you go, Thump. There it is.
Well, here's the thing: is I found that this thing that you're talking about, false advertising, it works better in the rain, but I would never ever tell people to use it in the rain. Oh, that is cool!
Let me enlarge in you, Charles. There you go.
Oh my god, dude, that is so awesome.
And it could go either way,
Yeah.
vertical or horizontal. It goes this way, actually.
Well, are Moxins polarized or like? Remember, I'm the rookie, so I don't.
You can be vertical or horizontal, depending on how you set it. Same with your antenna.
Okay. Yeah.
If you
But
put
it's,
yours flat,
it's
you could do 2-meter sideband with it.
It's directional,
Oh,
right? So
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, directional. This is only
And
2
what-
elements versus 3.
Right.
and what kind of gain do you get on that, Chuck?
About 6.
How do you measure that?
dBd.
Because like I'm a twit.
I
And I
just-
don't know.
No, I just go by. It's a known thing. It's a 2-element Yagi and that are about the same.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So if you wanted to measure it, there's a couple of different ways. The one way is that you can use a radio that has an S meter on it,
Mhm.
and then set that, I don't know, 100 yards away with a camera pointing at it, and then signal with the antenna, like a regular antenna, and then signal with that one, and then you'll be able to compare the S meter readings,
Yeah.
and you should be able to see a delta in the decibel levels. The other thing you could do is you could do the same thing with like the tiny SA, and you could probably get a more accurate measurement.
Well, the
No, I-
Moxin and the hex beam are about the same.
One of the guys at the club was telling me that I should make like just a single quarter wave element and use that as the benchmark and then compare it against that. Is that
Right.
Yeah, you could totally do that. Now the thing is that when you talk about gain, though, it's typically in reference to a dipole, so they'll call it like DBD or DBI, which is in reference to an isotropic radiator, which is theoretical. You can't build one of those.
okay?
But you
no
can
more
just
big
add-
words because my head will like. Ugh.
Yeah, but you could just add 2.15 dB to get the number.
Okay.
But what I would do is I would just do a antenna comparison, like use a baseline and another one, and then use some sort of meter far away that you could use when you read it. If you do use the tiny SA, I would put an attenuator in line because if you point 10 watts at like 100 yards with a 6 dB gain, you might let the smoke out.
Well, I'm just thinking I've got the one attenuator that I can do this to get the spurious emissions. I'm not sure if maybe it was one of your shows that I saw it and I bought one. But
yeah, you could totally use that and it would be fine.
Okay. Yeah. I'll be
So
contacting you afterwards to figure out how to do all this.
Yeah, no worries, man. No worries. It's cool.
And you can talk to any of us and about 3,000, 4,000 other friendly toads in our Discord, which I believe is pinned up at the top of the chat, I think.
It's a friendly Discord, dude. I've been to a couple of the others, and like, holy cow, there are some like all out fist fights going on in some places.
Yeah, we tried to. We pride ourselves in, and Ape is the one that coined the term, the friendliest place this side of QRZ. And I really think it is generally a pretty mellow place. There's some oddballs in there, but
you have your fight room, right? So
we do.
We don't talk about it. We don't talk about it. Nobody talks about it.
It's actually one of the bigger Discords around.
Yeah, it is. I think we got over 4,000. Does that sound right, Ape?
Yeah, we're close to 4,500. So
4,500. Okay.
Those are
Members, and we have, and you've been. I know I've seen you in there. I mean, we have rooms or chat groups or whatever you want to call them for everything, 3D printing and pew-pews and all sorts of radio breakouts and I mean
food.
Food. Yeah. There's a lot of posts about.
You've got so many different social media apps and stuff like that. Like I gotta start culling them down. I gotta choose which ones. But I think Discord's gonna be a winner. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and
the thing is like what amazes me about the Discord is that you can ask goofy questions and somebody is like, oh, you want to look here, or you want to try this, you want to try that. Yep. Like I remember when we first set up the Discord, somebody was asking some kind of question about the brake pads of this weird car that I've never even heard of the car. And I'm like, man, this guy's crazy asking a question like that. And sure enough, somebody came along and was like, oh, no. You want to turn the thing a half turn? And I was like, what? Couldn't believe it.
Well, that's what makerspace is around here for. Like with my special effects and stuff like that. I love makerspaces, not because of what you can make at them, and it's full of some, oh my God, there are some like seriously eccentric people. Like they're barely tolerable kind of people, but never once have I gone in with some sort of engineering issue for a special effect and not walked out an hour later with a working solution. It's the brain power of some of those places is crazy.
Well, you'll see that stuff at like Hamfest, but you're talking about the guys who have like Arduinos stitched into their clothes and stuff like that. And so they can be like, here's my homegrown tricorder.
This guy.
right.
Well, it doesn't have a propeller on top too, right? Got to put a propeller up there.
Well, you see at the Hamfest, you always see the guy with the giant antenna, like on his backpack, walking around, making contacts.
Guy. Hey,
what kind of a laser setup do you have? I mean, I saw you cutting something. It was your box antenna or whatever you called it.
Yeah, so that is it's a cheap blue light. So it's a UV diode laser. And what is the name brand of that one? That is an algo laser. So on my other channel, I don't know why, but I can sell lasers like candy. So all the diode laser people just send me freebies, and then so that's Sweet. One of them. It's a 20 watt. And it works really well for a small shop, and you got to make sure you have eye protection and some way to extract all the air properly so you're not breathing all the bad fumes. But yeah, that's what I got.
Will that cut wood?
Yeah, totally. I can get 1/4 inch through on that. It takes a little while, it's longer, but
not that
the
much.
Thing is, I don't have to drive to another shop to get it cut. I can just do it at home, right?
Mm-hmm. And so you do 3D printing too, as you mentioned that earlier.
Yeah, there's some 3D printers out there that like way back in the 90s when I helped develop some of the Delta printers and some of the mathematics and stuff involved in them way back when. But yeah, I do 3D printing. The ones I have at home are pretty generic, but I know people with like metal printers and stuff. Like if you want a titanium jet engine, I could probably make that happen for you. So,
wow,
sweet. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I do have something. Aluminum. Only aluminum. It doesn't have to be titanium.
It's aluminium, isn't it?
Aluminium, yeah.
Only if you're in Australia. Do Canadians say aluminium?
No, Canadians say aluminum. The Brits and the Aussies and the Kiwis all say aluminium. And I just do it because it usually makes people stop and go, what did you just say?
Right. All right. Well, we have reached the end of our time. Actually, we're a little bit over, but it's YouTube. So,
and you're getting ready to drop a video now. So
I just dropped it while we were chatting, and I'm trying to get back to StreamYard, and I'm going to post the link to it.
I think Ape has beat you to it.
Or I post a link to your channel, but I can find the video.
No, I'll just give me 2 seconds. I got it up. I just have to copy Gotta be smarter than the piece of plastic that's attached to my hand. And there you go. So that is everybody can find out if the tinfoil hat makes a good antenna or not.
I want to know the results of somebody having their melon inside that thing. I think that's
yeah. So I think I'm gonna have to send my tiny SA in there. Should I throw an attenuator on it? Because I probably would.
I would.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah, I would not put it inside there without it. That's kind of like defibrillating yourself. I mean, theoretically, it should be okay, but
the thing
I don't
is,
want to be that guy to test that and end up dying and it getting 10 million views on YouTube.
You want to be the guy that in 1912 was drinking irradiated fluids because it was supposed to give you a healthier complexion. Like, it's one of these
it
where
cleans out your colon.
But it burns when I pee.
Right, you don't have to worry about turning the light on in the bathroom at night when you pee because it glows in the dark.
All right, guys, thank you all for being here. Ben, thank you very much for being on the show.
Awesome.
We appreciate
it. Went by
having
fast.
me.
It did. I was like, holy crap, we're already over an hour. I hadn't even looked at the clock. Good
I'm
deal.
back for any time you want. You just let me know.
Absolutely. Our standards here are not that high, so it'll probably happen.
So wait, what are you
Let Jim
saying?
stick around.
Are you saying
No, we
Well,
let Jim
they got
stick
me
around.
instead of the Telemundo girl as a replacement.
big
and
mistake.
Abe's still
Big
trying
mistake.
to get the Telemundo girl, but she won't return his calls.
No.
what was that, Chuck?
She's a lot better for hits, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Just saying.
I'm hitting the button. Bye, y'all. See you.
Bye, everybody.